amazing ladies in business. Welcome to the HerStory podcast. I'm your founder, Kylie King, founder of Australian Ladies Business Initiative. And I am so excited to be joined today by the amazing Davina Jones from the Mumpreneur Lawyer. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So let's get started with the listeners. Can you tell us a bit about who you are and what you do?
I'm Davina and I'm the founder at the Mumpreneur Lawyer. So we really help women in business stay in business. And we do that with contracts, with reviews, with branding protection, and legals generally, really. Yeah.
Cool. And I feel like with a lot of small businesses, it's something that they tend to leave to the last minute. Would you find that? Or they sort of don't think about it and they go, oh, no, I'll be fine. I don't need a lawyer when it comes to my small business until then something does happen.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why I started my business because I was in court representing small businesses and having to see what happens when people don't take those proactive steps. So yeah, absolutely. I think being proactive about your contracts and being proactive about your legals and just getting educated about what you should be doing and what it's all about in terms of compliance and that sort of thing is really important.
So, in regards to, say, a startup business and they're not really sure if or when is the good time to have a lawyer. Now, you've mentioned contracts. Would that include things like maybe your terms and conditions, or what sort of would that involve if I was a small business wanting to make sure I had all my ducks in a row legally, I guess?
So it really depends on what sort of small business as to, what ducks you need. Um, but you're kind of looking at, what business structure are you going to be to start with? And then, you know, we don't have a business without clients or customers. So we want to kind of tidy up that relationship, make sure that we have some T's and C's there. We might have to have a privacy policy because we're collecting people's personal data, might have to have some terms and conditions for our website. There could be other things depending on which industry you're in and what your business is all about. So it's really dependent on the type of business. Yeah.
Cool. So, what got you started? What made the the mumpreneur lawyer exist?
So yeah, I mean, part of the story is definitely that I was seeing a need for proactive action when it came to legals, rather than getting to that stage where there's a dispute and then, kind of too hard basket, and then a dispute becomes a claim, and a claim becomes a court case, and financial and emotional turmoil that goes with all that. So rather than that, I'm really looking at, how can we make it simple and accessible and really make sure small businesses have that foundation and grounding at the start, so that, if there is a dispute, it's resolved really quickly and early because you know what the rules are. When you know the rules of the game, you can operate accordingly.
Yes, very true. And I think no one wants to have that where it comes to, where they need to hire a lawyer to deal with something.
No,
So
no.
having that good backing, I guess, it reminds me of this acronym we used to, CARE, cover, ask, retain employment. So it makes me think of that, like make sure your bum is covered legally, so then it doesn't have
Absolutely.
to get to that stage, really, because just the stress alone, without everything else, having to get a lawyer, that would be really, really painful. So,
Yeah, yeah. Get it done right at the beginning, and then, so many headaches can be avoided.
yeah. And then it's also really good because if the question does come up with the client, you have that protection. You have those rules, or as you mentioned, the T's and C's or the privacy policy there that's going to really support you going in your interactions with clients and how you deal with things for your business.
Yeah, I think one of the beautiful things I find that I get with clients is that absolute confidence to go forward, knowing that they can negotiate on their terms, even with large organizations that previously they didn't have the confidence to deal with. And just having that kind of backing, knowing what they can say, knowing what's right, knowing what the law says, then they just have this newly found immeasurable confidence to go, okay, I think I can do this. I can do this. I can yeah, I can negotiate by myself.
Which is beautiful. That's awesome to have that confidence. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, what do you love most about what you do? Like, what motivates you to get up in the morning and keep doing it?
I love, so I have conversations with women and inspiring women every day, and that's incredible. And I love that. I'm also really passionate about educating women and just getting them understanding the real basics of the law and what they need to know in terms of business operations. So that education component is a big passion of mine. And yeah, so this year I'm planning on releasing sort of more learning learnings, whether it be in the form of a course or learning portal. We'll sort of see, watch this space. But yeah, definitely more education.
Beautiful. Now, I need to ask this sticky question as we're evolving and moving. Why would I come to a lawyer if ChatGPT could just write it for me, Davina?
Absolutely. So ChatGPT, and it's getting pretty good. Sometimes, I'll read a contract that it drafts and, it's actually not bad. Um, but it's also got a whole heap of data. It can make what they call hallucinations. Um, and you can't rely on it. So I'm actually in the process of working with a partner in developing a new platform which will operate kind of like ChatGPT, but you will be able to rely on the documents. Obviously, they won't have a human lawyer oversight unless you want that. But it'll be the kind of ChatGPT that you can use and know that it's been trained with data that can be relied upon, as opposed to made up cases and things like that. So there are a few instances where barristers have presented cases in courtrooms where the cases didn't exist, and that yeah, so yeah, unfortunately, there can be issues there. So we just have to be careful. It's amazing technology, and I think lawyers should be embracing it. But yeah, there's definitely some caution that we need to take.
I think with every industry, ChatGPT, it at the moment is only so far, like it's up to 2020 or wherever it is with its information. I know it's not up to date. So, having those new cases, as you mentioned, come in or having, even just up to date factual information, it isn't there. And that's without even including what you mentioned, the hallucinations where it gets excited. And then it's like as you mentioned, some barristers presented a case that doesn't exist, unfortunately. So, no, that's really good. I think it really goes into the fact of still touching base with a lawyer so they can check this stuff, because you can get something off ChatGPT and I can go, yeah, that's cool. The computer said it was great. But then if there's a loophole there that the client might find, or, that can affect your negotiations, it's just so important to just invest that time and that money into having someone with that experience in the industry to oversee it.
Yeah, I think, lawyers won't be replaced, but I think lawyers who don't embrace new technologies will be replaced. So it's very much a matter of using the tools as best as you can, but nothing's going to replace, well, the empathy that you need from a human, the human understanding of the nuance of a problem and the overall business, the 20 plus 30 years worth of experience in the industry. I think yeah, there's still going to be a place for lawyers, but it is going to be different in the future. It's not necessarily going to be, yeah, doing the technical side of things. I think there's more strategy and more empathy needed by lawyers in the future.
So, as a businesswoman yourself, what would you say so far has been your biggest challenge in business?
I mean, the ups and downs are quite um, to the forefront. I mean, every business owner knows you go through rough troughs. COVID was an obvious example, and you sometimes have incredible highs. So, yeah, it's just riding those waves out, knowing that neither will last. So you might be going through an amazing time, but it's not necessarily forever. Or you might be going through a hard time and acknowledging that things can change. And yeah, but also knowing when to change, when to pivot, when to address performance issues. I mean, there's so many things that come into running a business. And yeah, I mean, it's all challenging some days, you know, even just yeah, but I'm so lucky because as I say, I get to speak to these incredible women, inspiring women, hearing about new designs, hearing about new innovations, hearing about new business ideas in general, and then getting to help them through that journey, whether it's, you know, foundational aspects of the business or further down the line, helping them grow, scale with really good foundations. Yeah, I'm very lucky.
So, if we flip that, so we've gone over the challenge, what would you say so far has been your biggest achievement in business?
I think every business woman who stays in business for a long time um, should feel a sense of achievement. So that kind of longevity. So far I've been around for about 7 years, and yeah, I'm really proud of that. But I'm also proud of I've won quite a few awards, the Mumpreneur Awards. In 2020, I won the B2B award. In 2024, I won the Legal Services Award. I won a Stevie's Award. So lots of awards, APEC Award. So that's been exciting. It's always nice to have recognition of what you're doing, achievement-wise. And just, I probably the bigger achievement even than that is I've got over 270 Google 5-star reviews. So if I'm having a bad day, I'll just go back and go, oh, no, 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 you're appreciated. Keep doing what you're doing. And that's pretty special, just knowing that people trust you with their work and that they're appreciative of the service that you provide and that they took the time and effort to write a really detailed review about their experience. That speaks volumes to me and hopefully to future clients too. But as I say, I'm certainly in the development of a platform that will enable people more.
But no, that's really, look, if we look back, like one, the achievements are great. Like the awards are fantastic, especially to get recognized, because when you're working in your own business, you sort of don't get to see outside of what you're doing, or you don't remember all the things you've achieved. So having that recognition is like incredible, right? Because there's other people that generally with awards are judging you. And Stevie's an international awards. I know I've judged for them before, a couple of times. So I know what they look for when they pick that they're winners. So that's an amazing achievement. But also, you mentioned your Google 5-star reviews. 270, that's phenomenal. Like, that's such a great achievement. And as you mentioned, to go back and then when you're having a bad day, read through and just to pick yourself up, because we tend to forget when we're working so much in our business that, as you mentioned, we are appreciated. And there's a people out there, like you've got clients coming in and, you know, if anyone is like the people that are listening here today, if you haven't dropped a Google review on a business, do it. Or ask your clients to give you a Google review, because not only is it great for SEO and all of those tech things that the digital people can speak better than I can about it. But it's also good to just come back and really look at what you're doing and give you, as you said, that pick me up. The whole, I'm having a bad day, but I know that there's people out there that actually love me and love the stuff I'm doing in my business, which is just a phenomenal achievement for any business owner.
I think feedback is so important. Negative feedback is actually more important because it enables you to tweak, it enables you to improve, it enables you to learn, it enables you to grow, you know. So I actually look forward to those, you know, times when someone hasn't had 100%, you know, happy experience, and they can come to me and say, you know, something, you know, I would have preferred this. And then I can assess. Now, I think some business owners get in the trap of then taking that too seriously and altering their whole business, which is tempting to do when you're at the beginning and don't have many clients. But, you know, as you grow and have more and more clients, you know, one negative feedback becomes less and less important, but it's still absolutely valid, and you need to see if there's anything you can take on board to improve your service going forward.
Beautiful. So, is there any advice you wish you were given when you started your business?
It'll be a rocky road. It won't be smooth sailing. You're used to it, regular paycheck, forget about that. Cash flow can be tricky. Yeah, so many things. But also you'll grow and learn more than you've ever done before. Yeah, I think I don't regret any of it, but it's a journey, you know, like it's tempting for every business owner to go, I might just look on Seek and see what I can do, you know, because God, that was nice when I just, you know, walked in, sat my butt down, had a chat, and then got paid at the end of the week, no matter what. Yeah, I
No
think it's
responsibilities, Davina. No responsibilities, right? You just had to do what you had to do in your job description. You didn't have
exactly
to
tick
then
the
worry
box
about
and you're done.
everything else. All the other fires were not your problem. And then as a
Exactly.
business owner, all the fires are your problem.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, all the fires. So the idea is to, you know, not get the fire started in the first place. I think that's the key, isn't it? To getting your operations running just like clockwork, like Mike McCallowitz says or whatever, so that you're really oiling each of those wheels and making sure that, yeah, a fire doesn't even start or have potential to start. And if it does, it's really easy maintained. My brother's actually a firefighter, so
Well, we're just in sync, Davina. I didn't even realize that. So,
Mm.
what would you say if you want to share? I know you've mentioned that you're doing contracts for small businesses. You've got this exciting new platform that's coming out to
Yeah.
where you're like pivoting into the new technology that's being released in your industry. What would be your ultimate goal for your business? Like, the big, hairy, scary goal, if you're willing to share it, of course.
Um, well, I'm really looking to expand the education component. So that's the big goal. I want every woman to have that accessible, reliable legal education that um, they can use when they start and when they're progressing through business. So that's my big goal, and hopefully it happens this year.
Fantastic. So, as the legal expert that you are with your trophies and your amazing Google reviews, is there one tip that you would leave with the listeners, like a taste test, so then they can come and check out your business and what you're doing?
Uh, You can follow me on Instagram or follow me on LinkedIn to get a bit of a taste test. If you're at the stage where you need a lawyer, feel free to book in for a free consultation. Um, I can flick a link somewhere. And otherwise, yeah, just stay connected because if you haven't reached out to a lawyer and you're in a small business, that's probably of concern.
And a tip. So if you haven't already reached out
Yeah.
to a lawyer to check your stuff, it's a concern. So now
Yeah,
is your this moment while you're listening, this is your kick in the pants to reach out to a lawyer and get your stuff checked before hopefully nothing negative happens, but just in case to protect yourself.
exactly. Anything from, making sure your payment terms are in order so the invoices get paid. I mean, making sure your liability is covering you adequately. All these things pile up, and yeah, there can be lots of risk there if you haven't had a lawyer sign off on what you're relying on.
Yeah. So every business needs a protection. As I mentioned before, that acronym CARE, cover us, retain employment, retain your
Love
business,
it.
check you with your lawyer. And thank you so much for joining me today, Davina, and sharing your business, the Mumpreneur Lawyer. I'm going to put all your links below so that we can come and stalk you and check out your stuff. And as mentioned before, if you haven't got a lawyer to check over your stuff, now is the time to book it in. So thank you so much for joining me.
You're so welcome. Thank you.